Good morning, everybody. We're going to call the Design Council meeting in February 5th to order at 10 o'clock. First item on the agenda today is the approval of minutes from our January 8th meeting. Make a motion to approve the minutes.
One edit.
Yep, hang on.
Go ahead.
We'll do that after the second. Have a second, please. Second. All right. So before we vote on that.
Okay, the edit is where it says, this sentence, Ella Back is impressed with the level of community engagement, accessibility, and working with arts being envisioned to ensure exclusivity. It's inclusivity with an I. INCLUSIVI. Thank you. We don't want it to be exclusive. We want you to be inclusive, not exclusive, the opposite.
You good with that, Jan? Matt, you good with that amendment to your motion?
I am perfectly happy with that.
All right, so any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Second item on the agenda today is the multimodal facility, which we have Kent Williams, the artist, here to present to us today. Good morning, Kent.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, Mr. Councilman, would you like to?
No, this guy running.
Good morning. Yeah, this is the controller. Okay, thank you. This is the project, formerly known as the multimodal transit facility. Now that's been simplified to the hub. And I believe we brought our general conceptual approach to this project a little over a year ago. And we received approval to proceed. In the interim, we selected 4 artists. We did a cafe national call. We had over 120 applicants, and we are thrilled to have selected 4 artists, 2 local artists, Armando Linares, Lindsay Cardinal, an Anchorage, Alaska artist, Sheila Wine, and a New York City artist, Sue Kang Sapp. So today I'll go over generally how the project has evolved. We'll look briefly at each 4 of the sites that correspond to the artist selections we've made. And then there are a few other integrated elements that I'll show you as well that round out our holistic approach to the project, as there were several things in addition to the commissioned artist work that followed the larger project concept of transit and responsiveness to the local neighborhood and the history of Deland. So here we have the project site. This is an overview looking west over the river. This is directly across from the northern entrance to the ballpark.
So Kent, if I can real quick, make sure we're all on the same page. Today you're presenting concepts to us.
Yes.
You're planning on bringing this back for a final?
Yes.
Okay. Just like 30% or?
I think as far as the overall building package goes, it's 90+%. I mean, it's close to going out to bid. However, I think it's fair to say what we'll be sharing today from the artists is the 30%. We have a strong concept. We'd like to have an opportunity, of course, to go through design development and respond to any feedback to design council and or other journey influences that come forward.
Then Armando, you're on the design committee. Or you're abstaining to that. You got that, Jen? All right, go on.
So this slide is looking southwest. So we're at Sycamore Street. I believe this is Oak or is this Texas? This is Texas. So Sycamore in Texas looking south and west. This is the entry lobby. You see item A. The opportunity there is a lobby mosaic. Opportunity B, you would get a glimpse of, as you see here on the screen, right? It is the western wall on the first floor of the bus platform area. And we'll look at these in greater detail, but this is just a big overview. Opportunity C is a tunnel that goes mid-building, east to west, and towards you through the administrative building. That's basically a side entrance to get into the bus platform and a really neat art and aesthetics opportunity. Item D are the art and architectural screens that exist. You can see them here on what is the east elevation and also on the north elevation. And then the project narrative, which would be a bronze plaque or similar durable elements that exist in what we call the Southern Plaza. So we'll start with Armando's commission. This is the lobby mosaic. This piece would be visible from the outside through the storefront. As seen here, suggests that dotted line is showing approximately where the feature wall is. It's a 425 square foot mosaic. And Armando's concept is mining the local narratives that directly reflect the original transit function of this area, which was the Chisholm Trail. And now we have brought forth into present day this new multimodal transit facility that's literally on the Chisholm Trail. Not only everyone has got Chisholm, Armando's also has dug in deeper and is looking into another important historical person named Black Beaver. He is taking these narratives and transforming them through his custom tile and is working with pixelation to abstract the image of those people and other narrative. His pattern is really wonderful. It's based off of the patterning and the fabricator, the building of Cowboy, or the upper of the Cowboy. So you see here on the left how he's taken that, stylized that into a 3D form that escalates or alternates to fit this large matrix that becomes very textural. It literally has significant depth. And I love how he said this is highlighting the iconic Western aesthetic through a contemporary lens. And that's one of Armando's phrases that I think elegantly states it. Here it is again. We also have integrated a lighting system that's appropriate for flooding that wall and the color and the texture of Armando's art on that feature wall. That's item A. Moving on to item B. This is what you see on the first floor, or what we call the platform. This is the bus functionality. The bus bays move in through this area from south to north. And if you're waiting on a bus, this is what you would see. All of these western walls, and they grow from slender. Let me back up a little. Lindsay Canoe, another local artist, she's designing the what she refers to as Delano history through a surreal lens. So this goes back to when the natural world was more dominant. That's where she starts, and she brings it forth to the present day. So it's an evolution from the natural landscape and the native history of this place through modern day to land. You see, the open space here is the portal to the west that takes you all the way through onto the neighborhood side street. Here's a detail of that evolution, the homeland of the Wichita Nation, the Chisholm Trail, the cattle drives. And this is from her original proposal. She really got into the detail in a meaningful way. The selection committee was really thrilled with this. This covers the aviation history, and again, tying it back to the David Prairie flora. Moving on to the third opportunity, the tunnel. Sheila Wine is the commission artist for Opportunity C Tunnel. Her work typically reappropriates reflective sign, i.e. transit media. These are examples of recycled, repurposed street signs into this sculptural form that's the Walker from her Wayfarer series. In our project, we don't think she will be using repurposed media because we need to integrate it elegantly into the skin of this tunnel, which is a corrugated panel. But it's the same stuff. It's that same reflective, highly reflective contemporary material. Her inspirations were fireflies of the Milky Way, which I think harken back to the Chisholm Trail, the natural world, but the Milky Way, navigation by the stars, at least that influence of the stars as you were traveling before, way before the advent of electric light. This shows how one wall in that tunnel, north wall, south wall are similar. This shows that reflective media in the upper right integrating into the corrugated panel. And then this continues on to the overhead plane in the ceiling above. Again, this is highly reflective stuff. And we'll show you a little bit later in the presentation when you're into the integrated elements, how the lighting has been designed to exploit this particular opportunity in a beautiful way, effective way. Such a win. Opportunity to see the tunnel. Opportunities D, the architectural art panels. Su-Kang Zhao is our artist here. He's done beautiful projects in perforated metal. The core of his work is community engagement. He works with as many organizations as we can efficiently team him up with to extract words, phrases in multiple languages of what transit means to them, or what this place means to them. This shows one of Su-Kang's projects, and you can see, hopefully you can see, the level of detail and the beautiful variety of language, font, style, scale that creates a pattern of movement in two-dimensional plane. I do want to point out, at this point, our base bid has the large series of 4 rhombuses in this lower east elevation. That's in the base bid. The north elevation that shows the 2 rhombuses. At this point, that's an add alternate. We just we wanted to give ourselves safety and flexibility as the materials costs have stabilized, but when we were really working on how much this we could afford. We didn't know that, and we also, seeing that we don't have a final design, we will be working with the contractor to say, here's our range. And what's the number? How do we have a little bit of flexibility to make sure we get the best we can? And if worst case scenario, we can reduce on the work. Here's an example of one of Su-Kang's renderings that shows that texture. These panels will be at 410 steel, so they have that leathery character, and that's important to the neighborhood, that adds that feel of the West. We got support for that, as long as we can mitigate the rust. We're doing a couple things to mitigate the rust. There's a gutter system, and also, we need to pre-rust them significantly before we start building that skin. And here's the photo of Sukang in one of his workshop environments, where he collects that information. And then people can actually go to the finished piece and say, that's what I did. I was a part of creating, those are my words, that's my thought. Which is, it's delightful to hear him talk about this, because he does this so beautifully, does it well, and builds in that extra thing of wonder. So now we'll quickly go over the integrated aesthetics, which are baked into the project that did not require an artist or a commission. One is the landscape package. Street trees have been added as much as possible on all four sides of the building. We've got integrated lighting that supports Commission A, B, and C. We do not have a specific lighting component for the architectural screens, as we are looking to the lighting of the building itself to filter through those. The architecture itself follows these cues of dynamic motion, the idea of that rhombus or leaning diamond form. And then the wayfinding as well follows the concept of the names of the trees that are on the local streets. There are still trees in this neighborhood, and Armando references this in his work, that were wayfinding devices along the trail. These are the same 5 integrated elements. In addition to the artist commission elements, we're just looking at it from a different view. Here, we're looking from Sycamore and Oak Street. This is Texas. Sycamore and Burton. Okay, thank you.
Northwest.
So we're standing, the ballpark is behind our right shoulder. Ellis fence is a little bit further south. And behind the bus that you see here on the left, this is the facade of the building where the buses enter. So they're entering from south, traveling to the north. This area where I have the landscape number 1, we've created a landscape opportunity here where we're featuring a significant scale tree. As the neighborhood still has trees that tie back to the Chisholm Trail and wayfinding, we wanted to plant one tree, a larger specimen, this is the maple in this case, to further tie into that motif. This shows you the landscape area with the large specimen maple and the planter shape and plan, reflecting that dynamic tilt or that diamond or rhombus. This shows a section through the tunnel, and those 4 red dots are the integrated lights that are tucked up and into a coffer that will allow them to wash those walls and respond to or interact with that highly reflective material. Here are the wayfinding graphics. These are responding to street names that happen to be trees in the neighborhood: Sycamore, Walnut, and Osage. And this shows the stair tower. The window graphics are this translucent gray. The wall beyond them is what is the intense color. That's it in a nutshell. I do have some other views if you'd like me to share them now, Bill, that kind of show a little bit more.
I'm good with that. This is bonus material that's not in the pack that he's getting ready to show.
So here we are. This is the first view that we looked at on the right. That's where the buses would be coming out and onto the street. Again, this is looking to the northwest. And then this, we're kind of driving around the building. Imagine we follow this bus on into the neighborhood, into the west, and turn around and look back into the building, and this is what we see. That's where you ramp up into the parking facility, and again, we maximize the planting along that street right away to scale things down for the neighborhood and to provide that texture. And really, this is an edge. We want to mitigate that edge with as much organic stuff as possible. Then we're going to move north, and we'll look back at the building again. So we just went one block north. Now we're looking, if we could see through the building, we'd be seeing the ballpark. So this shows you what is the northwest corner of the building, and we're looking south and east. Here on the left is where the buses would be emerging. And what we're looking for today is approval of our conceptual approach. And to Bill's point earlier, we would come back and see our set developed what we consider their 90%, not their final design for execution. Any question?
Any questions for Kent?
I just have a couple.
Yes.
So the first one is on Armando's. Can you help me understand a little bit? And I want to make sure I guess maybe I want to make sure I understand things correctly. The entire mural will be this textured pattern. How does, because those are multifaceted, how does your view, how do you anticipate the view of the mural changing as you pass by it?
Yeah, so the concept for this is really to, it's gonna work like a abstracted meaning, right? It'll be textural, color, light, and as you, I'm used to this, if you notice kind of on the top, there's sort of this, those are the mulberry tree leaves, and those will have this type of place that are reflective. So really, it's meant to be experienced as sort of this abstract mosaic, especially with the pixelation as you come into the space, and then the image sort of will be revealed, right? If that makes sense. So if you see it from the side, you won't necessarily see like the image. It's not your typical mosaic, right? Where it's like flat little pieces.
It's interesting.
It's more of a abstraction, right, of the image. But if you step back, you should be able to see their faces perform. That's why I wanted to kind of show you the pixelation is intentional.
Yeah.
It's not a little bit further.
That's pretty interesting.
To kind of give you an idea. But yeah, as you feel from the side, you will lose some of that definition, then it'll become more of like an abstraction. That's why I added different gradients on it, lines that kind of are based and suggest the trails of the Chisholm Trail, just to kind of give you more visual interest, right? As the image sort of appears or abstracted.
My only other question, and Kent, this probably is not a question for you, but maybe it's more of a question for Tim and Paul. There's a lot of planting proposed around the facility, which is great. I love. You had a conversation about who's going to maintain that and to what level it's going to be maintained.
No, I don't believe we've gotten that far into it. You know, the bigger thing that we were going into the project, Oak Street was bigger focus, the screen that there are residential properties. But they're across the street. That was our focus kind of going into it, the foremost of the landscape. But beyond that, I don't know if we had deeper discussions here. As long as they're native materials.
I'm all for as much as possible, but I know that there are limitations to maintenance and what parks get
Not a
do.
lot of space. Might be a little bit.
Trees are typically pretty easy
Well,
to achieve, you know, get done.
Burton and Texas, though, we have 3 bus bays, we have 12 bays for buses, we'll have 3 exits, so we're gonna have a sea of approaches, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a lot of room to put trees, I think it'll be Oak Street and then probably the courtyard area on the southeast corner of the building.
Any other questions for Kent or Paul?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have a question about the screens. You mentioned something about pre-rusting them. Are they going to appear as though they are rusted? Is this a smooth finish? What, I'm curious to know, like, in my mind, I'm thinking the big power columns that are at Greenwich and Kellogg. Is that?
Yes, that's the same too.
Okay, so just, I live in that neighborhood and we still are wondering when they're gonna come finish those. So just like for us, it looks very unfinished, so I'm wondering, is there other finishes around there that it's gonna like match, or that's just?
I think once it's perforated, it doesn't feel like an unfinished object. And the idea is that it feel leathery. And the intent is that we not let it finish on site. When that typically happens, these rust like any other thing rusts until they've rusted all the way across, and then they have a skin that no longer rusts. That's the difference between weathering steel and regular steel. So the reason we wanted to have them rust off-site is so they arrive at the site looking more intentional and more articulated, as opposed to being streaky or inconsistent. The idea is we want them to show up and have an intense color that is the color of that burnt orange forte. So I think that's a great question, how it might relate to other materials, and I don't have a good answer. But I like that question. I think that would be something
I'm just wondering because I feel like I don't hate the look, but where we live, I found out that that was the intention for these poles. It doesn't fit with anything, so it makes us think it's not related. And someone just, you know, like they just stuck it on there. We got like recycled material, which is fine, but it just seems like it didn't go together. So I would just already, like, I already would have the feeling that it, you know, maybe, I don't know.
I think that might be something we could speak to in the project narrative, that was like an intentional choice.
Yeah.
Because we wanted the color and it's not, we didn't forget to paint it, or we aren't cutting corners and cutting costs by not giving them a powder coated finish or something like that. And I think I think that might be a nice thing to address.
I was
Happy
just
to
wondering.
Take that back to the team and see if there's an elegant way we can address that.
Yeah, I might mention one other thing that is unbeknownst to me, but we are meeting with the Delano Design Committee Wednesday afternoon, so we'll go over some of these aesthetics. So if there's concern from that group as well, we'll bring it forward. But I didn't know they had a Delano Design Committee until just a few weeks ago. We've been to Delano United, Delano Association, Delano Business Group with this project, and then they found out, got another one. So I'll pass on any of those comments that we received from that. That might address some of the rest of the as well.
Anything else, Jess? Anybody else?
Can I ask, Jesse, do you have a recommendation for an alternative?
No, I just wondered because it
Wanna
made
make
me
sure
think
it's
of that right away, and it just, everything looks so pretty and shiny and nice and bright and colorful. So when I thought rust, I was like, what, I just didn't see anything else. I just wondered.
Would you rather see it powder coated
Um,
or as long as it connects, but
yeah, as long as it
it's not
connects.
sounding like it does connect, that's more of an intentional break.
Right, I think the contrast is something that is being,
So it will contrast.
If that's the intention, yeah, I just wanted to know just for, I think sometimes knowing, oh, that was intentional maybe. And it does seem more decorative than just sticking like poles out there maybe. So I just wondered, I also didn't, in my mind, it makes me kind of think like everything is so nice and polished and pretty, and then there's rust, so.
Just normally I wait till the end.
I'm
but
sorry.
Since I'm gonna share Jesse's concern. And I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm throwing up a red flag going, look, think through this, make sure this rusted steel is really what you want. I don't know how long you say you're gonna let it rust off site. I don't know how long that process is. I guess I share the same concern that you've got. This could look great. This
It's a
could
great,
look like
yeah.
it doesn't look great. I don't know if you can get there by painting it. It's the same feel, depending on how you paint it. So I'm just saying, think about it some more as you go through finalizing this. I really, from what I see, it could work good. It could also be something doesn't work good. You just gotta have the details ironed out, which I know you do. Think about that.
no, I fully appreciate that.
Steve?
Yeah, I think I just had a couple of comments. I think go along the lines with, just saying about pretty and stuff like that. I mean, I usually don't use those words, half and half. But, it's more about practicality and actually getting our money's worth out of designs. But looking at Armando's, the first thing I noticed was the drinking fountains. So you might think about visiting with I don't know, I'm sure it's not an architect thing, I'm sure it's an engineer thing. But visit with the engineer, see if there's a different place for that, because my eye, at least the rendering, was drawn straight to the two things, the drinking fountain first and the door second.
I'm proud of you. That's very nice.
Thank man. Yeah, it's taking you years to train me, but in this picture, actually works great too. I don't know I'm gonna say this in the vacuum because I don't know the operating hours of this facility. During the day, that's gonna look great because you're gonna have natural daylight, you're gonna have some of the powered lights. So it's gonna infill, it's gonna look great with the glazing. But then once nighttime comes, the lights in the ceiling, the linears up there, you have a hard cut line there with the soffit. So you have a hard shadow on that wall. Then the can lights do exactly what the can light over there is doing on that wall, which is gonna give the sky off. So you end up losing, you're losing what you want out of that glazing and then some leaves and stuff like that at the top. So you lose a pretty good portion of your artwork in terms of the highlight, right? To do what they want to do or to do what you want to do, where I feel you want to do, you're going to end up having to pump that light level in that lobby so much that you end up not having the opportunity to layer the light in there to then at that point, everything gets washed away. So I would recommend you guys at least maybe show this to the engineer or sit down with them and kind of help them understand what you're looking for, because that's, my opinion is just based on this. And again, sitting in the silo, you're going to end up losing part of the artwork on the lighting perspective.
I feel the same. I mean, it's something that, and I know we haven't talked about this specifically, but it's something that I was thinking about through the design process, just looking at the scan lights. And I was thinking the same, like maybe a different kind of lighting. I did look at the budget. There is a contingency, there's contingency money on my budget, and it could cover some additional expenses for a different kind of light.
So is that track lighting, just so I understand, or what would that be?
Sure, I mean, linear,
Track, well, linear along there would be great.
Well, it was fantastic. It's just,
uh-huh,
you have a break where you have picture changing, but.
Yep.
The vehicle is.
but it is something too that I was thinking about. Yeah, I agree with the can lighting. You can get the spots on it.
There's time and place on this artwork.
Yeah, you won't really be able to have that drink fountain there anyway, because it's three-dimensional. So it won't flush with the wall.
For the fountain,
Yeah, it'll Yeah, because this is the original. It must be flushing the small.
Not only that, but then with every drink fountain, you've seen every drink fountain, it's gross all the way around the drink. Fountain. So splash water, what have you, so it'll be maintenance nightmare.
If you can move the doors. Sorry, I'm just.
There you go, Matt, you not,
No, totally.
I know sometimes the architecture is hard, it's, you gotta pull your heart in. On this.
We did talk about addressing the splash, right? And maybe there's a way to incorporate flat tile, sort of in the surrounding, maybe follows the same color pattern with the tile itself as texture. Yeah, I know it's part of the conversations we've been having. We've talked about the tile, we haven't really talked about the lighting, but I share the same concerns. There's two doors, by the way, one on each side. At least they're like even there's two.
Some symmetry.
Yes, there's two. I did kind of move the feet here so that they were between the door and the water fountain. They're not centered to the doors. They're centered to the water fountain.
Even if the base of the piece goes up a little bit, you could create a band along the bottom where, outlets, junkie stuff can all happen in there.
So I did bring it up about 12 inches just because they're showing benches on the render, but they're not showing the plants, I don't think, on the floor plans. But I wanted to elevate the image so that it wasn't covered with the benches if they end up having benches there. But you're right, I mean, it could even go, it's a big wall, so it can easily go up higher and we're not gonna lose any detail from the wall. To kind of even it with the water fountain.
You do a pedestal fountain, blue wall mount inside.
That's not.
That's a little weird. It's a
It's
little
not
strange.
normal. Usually you have one.
Yeah.
If you got 88 things, it's probably a lot of filler.
Yeah.
They have to have a vacuum basically for it. Is this all paint one color or are they both color?
So there's, right now, there's supposed to be one color.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just like a cluster
It's a pixel
model. Yeah, exactly. Which one would be?
It's cool. I like these.
Yeah, so that's all plaster, but that's, you can kind of figure out the look of it. And I just wanted to comment on what you were saying, and I think this kind of brings us back to a larger conversation about design council and your suggestion of like where it's supporting, is it anywhere else, detailing in the building? I know that we had this conversation before. It's like we're no longer looking at, it seems like we're no longer looking at the whole design, but only looking at the art elements. And for a retreat, that's the conversation that we definitely should have. Like, are we wanting to look at the whole design of these projects, or are we only focusing on the art elements? Because that question that you had about is reflected anywhere is something that maybe there is more important in some other detailing throughout the building, but we don't know that because we don't have that information. So just something to talk about that last time. I think it's worth continuing to talk about it. It makes sense. We're design council, we should look at how the art integrates with all of the other aesthetic elements. That's it, just one thing.
Good point. Any other questions or comments from design council?
I'll throw my hat in the ring just with architectural advice on the finish before 10. One question I have is it's up high, it's kind of a distance from the street. So I don't know how well you'll pick up on how weathered that is. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but it would definitely be something that goes down closer where you can kind of see it better. You might see that texture. Of course, it's a popular architectural material. We try to use it in a number of projects, and usually it gets beat out, and we end up with something else. And I'm never really disappointed with what we get in the end, because you can get lots of products that mimic. And I know it's not real. There's something about the reality of Corten, like it's a thing that rusts and it's tangible, and I understand the realness of it, but if it goes to more of a copper color metal, as far off the street and as high as it is, you might not notice too much. So I don't know that this is just coming from our architect's perspective. So.
All right. Design council, time for a motion.
I'll move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Any? So they're going to go back based on the motion that we presented. So approved as presented. Any elements you want them to look at? I.e. the corten steel, the lighting on the material.
Well, I can modify it to include the conversations we have had about the challenges of corten steel and some of the architectural and engineering elements related to the interior hardware. That would happy. I'm happy. If we want to be more specific. So moved.
Did we have a second? Bill, are you good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
With that, any discussion on the motion?
Hello,
Hello?
hello.
Okay,
Yeah, hello.
we can see and hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Affirmative.
I wonder, can you hear me?
Yeah, sometimes we have troubles with our microphone here. You might have to call.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello? Hello? Hello, hello? 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 Hello?
Can you hear us at all?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Everyone can hear you, I think.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Should we just write a note to the video? We can.
You can be heard. Everybody can hear you. I don't know if you're looking at the
Okay.
chat. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yes, I can answer the question about the corten steel and the powder coat. My original idea was a powder coating, and we're talking to the committee, which I'm talking to, the suggestion is, which I agree. And the corten steel, the surface of rusty, it has to do with connect with the history of the city, and there's some kind of natural industrial the relationship to it. Now, for the effect, I think the corten steel has benefit because which was not my original idea, and I think I was convinced that because corten steel will rust to a certain degree and stop, and that will solve the problem for the maintenance in the future. I don't know, Richard Seller's work, and I think on the other side, particle, I did a lot of particle, and some of my oldest particles about 20 years now. The best particle company in this country is called Tiger. Their particle has two different kind. One is exterior, which is extreme to resist every outdoor whatever the weather, and the other most things is indoor. And most outdoor particle, and unless a few, like I think some yellow and a few color, the bright color. The most is like a very opaque, dark color, which I don't think looks good. Because they're very kind of opaque or even is shining. It's just for the railing, all these things. So even the green color I used, which I think I just went back to my work last year that was done like 17 years ago. And that yellow is kind of, the color didn't take off, but it's kind of lost its intensity because the sun. I'm talking about the Eugene, which is not a lot of sun. And I think you guys have to get a lot of more sun. Even that color over the whatever 20 years, whatever later, we're gonna lose a little bit intensity to it, and eventually become kind of like a off-white. I think let's say 50 years down the road. So the advantage and disadvantage. Now, you guys said you can let me know what I need to do. I can go both sides. But I was convinced to use Core-10 because Core-10, it's kind of rusty. It's kind of not like a modern, like a shining, clean, the rest part of it. But I think that's something to do with the history. That's a reason for me. And also for the long term, I think that because I don't think you guys are going to take down to reparticle again, and it will stain. That's the material is improved over the years. The particle, of course, particle company will promise you permanent. It's the resistant sun, whatever things. But I use exterior that the most strong particle is faded a little bit. That's my feedback for you guys. You can make choice. I go with the committee. And whatever we needed to do, it's just Ken knows I have been debating on this for quite a while, so I can go either way. I just want to know the fact and my thinking process and inside and out. Hope that helpful. I see you because I cannot really hear your voice very clear, but I notice the question you ask. So I would like to give my feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew, you understand the motion we've made?
Yeah,
Version work?
yeah.
Okay.
And if that'll help with that's reflected in the minutes as well.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, so we had a motion on the floor to approve. Two caveats, looking at the lighting on the mural and the Core-10 still want a little bit more as they progress. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Passes unanimously with one abstention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice job. All right, moving to the next. Tim Kellum with the Park Department is going to give us an update on Clap Playground and Dog Park.
Tim Kells, principal planner for the city of Wichita. I think last month we had told you that we were going to come back and present on LW Plat, provide an update. We had a very good progress, had a great meeting. Very excited about the art, and I'm super excited to present that to you. Unfortunately, Austin had some family emergency over in Turkey, so he's not able to be here today. But he is working on it and be here to present in March. Happy to answer any questions, but I'm very much looking forward on the project and where the direction that's going. So I think you'll be very excited about it. Again, one of the things that we're thinking about and that we're aiming towards is kind of that whimsical feeling for the playground. I think we're on track for that, but happy to answer any questions, but didn't want to leave you all hanging on it. I know that we talked about presenting to you this month.
All right. Any questions on the update? Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, last thing on the agenda is as may arise. And Jan, I may have you, I know we all know, but update us on our retreat. And then do you guys have anything else you want on as may arise?
Jana pulls the retreat information in time. Just real quick, on February 27th, we'll be hosting what we're calling a State of the Arts event at Century and Mary Jane Theater in the Pinckney. That'll be a public presentation and kind of a public launch of our new cultural arts strategic plan in partnership with the release. We released it last fall, but it's sort of a celebration of our AEP, the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study that division conducted with Americans for the Arts. So we have Randy Cohen with APTA Americans for the Arts coming to be our keynote presenter that day. So it's a Tuesday evening. It'll be open to the public. It's really a celebration kind of the public kickoff of our strategic plan. But we believe it's going to look like. So earlier that day at City Council workshop, I'll be introducing the plan to council and soliciting feedback, hopefully having it adopted or up for adoption in mid-March. So that's the first time council sees it, and then the first time the public will see it.
Time does that start?
The presentation will start at 6 o'clock with a networking kind of great snack opportunity in the lobby starting at 5:15. And we'll send out a formal invite to you also, you have it on your calendar. It's public, we encourage everyone to attend. Really just a celebration of the nonprofit arts community here in Wichita, and really just launching our new mission statement, vision statement, what we think our new strategic plan will be. Again, it won't have been adopted by council yet, but we feel pretty confident in the work we've done so far that we'll move forward, maybe with minor edit provisions, but we pretty excited to finally have that. The other thing, just a brief conversation on, is the Jackie Robinson statue that was stolen that has made a lot of national news. Even and the weekend update over the weekend, it's been everywhere. Just for this body, the statue was never formally donated to the city of Wichita, was never accessioned into our public art collection. League 42 is taking the charge in fundraising, obviously, and reproducing it. Anticipate that once it is reproduced and reinstalled, which is looking like a 6 to 8 month window, it will then be donated to the city, which will put it through the formal accession process. If and when in the future something were to happen, city insurance would hopefully kick in. But hopefully we never have to encounter something like that. But as it currently stands, it was not accessioned into the public art collection. Jana's been working very diligently to really make sense of our whole collection. Once we have that full collection manifest, she already has it, but we'll be doing a formal adoption to city council on accepting the collection as it currently stands, because that statue is one of many pieces that we don't know if we fully have it accessioned or not. There's a dozen works like it where there's sort of cities, but sort of not cities. So we're going to do a full, your city council, this is our 200+ piece collection as it currently sits. Everything's accessioned based on that date. Moving forward, we want to accession things as they come. So as projects complete, we accession them in real time versus kind of this limbo where some projects. So just want to put that out there for public to know. We're well aware of the statute, working with our community partner on having it reproduced. And then just another reminder that Greg Allison's seat is currently vacant. We're working with the mayor's office to get appointed. But if you have suggestions, let Janet and I know so we can make those recommendations. That's all I have.
That's an engineering position.
Yes.
So we have the retreat scheduled. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time and your availability to get this scheduled. It will be Monday, February 12th from 3 to 7 p.m. We'll do that in the City Arts Boardroom on the 2nd floor. We will feed you while you're there.
Next Monday.
Next Monday, a week from today. Yes, Paul?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but we are beginning the CIP process So we have some housing committee together to bring those projects sometime, but they are beginning.
Always a fun time. Thank you. We
I
can,
think they're hoping to get it done sooner this year, but we can see.
Thank you.
Design council good? So we're gonna adjourn the meeting here at 11:56, or I'm sorry, 10:56. I'm wrong. 10:56 this morning.